Welcome back, Guardians, to another video on this channel. Before I get into it though, follow me on Twitter, for crying out loud. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Follow me on Twitter, please. I've got like 160 followers or something. Please help me get it to 170 followers, please. Link is in the video description. Today I wanted to watch and react to my quit video, which I uploaded nearly 3 damn years ago, which is insane to me to even think about that it was nearly 3 years ago. I haven't planned this video, so I don't know what the content is going to be like. I haven't ever watched this video once since I uploaded it 3 years ago, but I often go back to this video to read the comments because the comments were so nice back then. And I had an idea over the next couple of weeks that I'd take like an hour or two a day and just reply to every single comment on that video, because whether or not they come back to my channel, then they at least get an update and I can thank them for their nice comments, because that is something I wanted to do back then, but I just didn't have the mental capacity to do so. So I have no idea what this video is going to be. I haven't planned it. I don't know how I'm going to react. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I just figured I would do it. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in the UK, and I've been up all night editing Paper Mario, Warzone, Destiny 2 videos, Borderlands 3 videos, Final Fantasy 7 remake videos, and my head is all over the place. So I don't know, I might even cry in this video like I cried 3 years ago. I just don't know what's going to happen. So hit the like button, leave some comments, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. If you're coming back to my channel from 3 years ago, welcome back. I appreciate you guys. I appreciated you then, and I appreciate you now. If you've been a steady viewer or you're a new viewer since I come back, I love you guys also. You guys are just as awesome and just as supportive and just as important to me as everybody else. I love everyone. I'm so happy, which is so weird for me to say, being back on YouTube, getting 200 to 500 views a video, and my sub count constantly going down every single day. Yeah, I'm happier than I ever was before. Crazy. Let's get into this anyway. Don't know how long this video is going to be. I'll try not to make it too long, but we'll see. Oh, let's get comfortable. Let's get comfortable. Right, so let's do this. I actually prefer this white logo on the intro, but I've lost the original files, which makes me sad. I
can already feel myself getting emotional.
That's really
cry
loud.
In this video.
Remember when I actually had some form of hair? Like, you could see that I'm already receding there. But, I mean, look at me now in comparison. It's just not good. I actually feel like I look thinner now than I did then, which is weird. I love those headset as well. I don't know where that's gone.
I apologize ahead of time.
You did cry in this video, you big baby.
Welcome back, Guardians, to my final video. I would appreciate it if you stuck around to the end. Listen to what I have to say.
No one ever sticks around to the end, because I got so many comments of this, of people not truly understanding why I left because they only watched one part of it or they skipped to one part of it. That annoys me. Like, I can't expect everyone to watch every minute of every video, but if you're going to comment or make comments in any way, positive or negative, me personally, I would watch the entire thing because I have as much information as possible. But regardless, anyway, let's carry on.
On the reasons why and all that stuff. Before I get into it though, if you have ever watched a video of mine and enjoyed it, if you've ever liked a video, if you've ever commented on this video in a positive way, if you've ever followed my Twitch, my Instagram, my Facebook, if you've done anything ever in your life to support me as a content creator, I cannot thank you enough for what you have done for my life.
That comment still stands today, 3 years later, even though I haven't been on YouTube. The funny thing about this part is, that's quite a mouthful to say, all those things that I just said. And I think I said one thing wrong during it. But I cannot tell you how many times I recorded this video, especially that part. I would have probably recorded this at least a minimum of 15 times. Just that first little part. The rest of the video kind of flowed on its own in like 1 or 2 takes. But that specific part was just ridiculous. And the reason why I was getting so emotional is because I had to keep like editing this video, because I was saying things wrong, because my mouth wasn't working in the way my brain wanted it to, and I was getting upset. So I had to keep re-recording this, which was infuriating because I just wanted to get everything out of there and just get it out, but I wanted it also to be coherent and understandable. It was probably the hardest video I've ever had to record in my life,
because without YouTube I don't know where I would be in my life right now.
Still, and YouTube led me to autism.
Came into my life at the perfect time. And now it's got to the point where YouTube doesn't offer me anything
I can already
personally.
hear myself going.
So I started YouTube about 5 years ago.
Jeez, that'd be like 8 years
Done
ago
Call
now.
of Duty, stuff like that. Always played with David, DPJ, all throughout the
DPJ.
years. Moved to Destiny. Destiny blew up my channel from like 70,000 subscribers to 200,000 subscribers.
Now, I mentioned that as kind of off the cuff thing, but that level of growth on YouTube is ridiculous. And I know there's other people who blew up way quicker than I have. But for playing a video game and within the space of like a month, like 2 weeks to a month, going from 37,000 active subscribers, well, not active, but you know what I mean, 30,000 subscribers, to like 170,000 to 200,000 subscribers in that short of a time. It didn't really sit with me properly in my head until probably recently, since I've started to come back to YouTube and realized how successful I was at that time. And, you know, looking at it now in a different way is just so satisfying, because even though I'm only getting 200, 500 views, whatever, you know, subscribers are going down, the appreciation for what I have achieved in the past and what I can get now is just on a completely different level. So, you know, that kind of growth was ridiculous back then. And if I ever see that again, I'm definitely not going to waste it the way that I did. And I don't mean by quitting YouTube, but just not taking advantage of the right things at the right time and just being caught up in the hype instead of just looking at the reality of it.
In less than a year. Destiny Year 1 gave me 27 million views, and
remember views like
that it just kept on coming and growing. I earned a lot of money off YouTube. It was a really
Now, I just want to say one thing in this video, and it's I keep mentioning money, and I remember this even though I haven't watched the video. I remember it because it sticks in my head, and I just kept mentioning money. And I don't know whether it was supposed to be kind of a humble brag or an egotistical thing, or, you know, on the very other side of it, you know, kind of portraying what exactly I was giving up by quitting YouTube. But it's probably the thing that I regret the most is talking about money so much.
Really good part of my life for most of it. About 2 years ago, when Destiny was taking off, as you guys know, I met a girl. Through the internet, through YouTube, called Lady Desiree, and we started a relationship.
Yes,
long distance relationship, because she lived in America. And at this point in time, I was not enjoying YouTube as much as I did when I first started it.
So I'm going to talk about my relationship briefly, because I really don't want to get into it too deep, because it is the past now. When I met Lady Desiree, things for my life changed. You know, she was an incredible person, an incredible talented person, and she taught me what it was to be positive, and that wasn't something I ever had in my life. And I believe we had a decent relationship. You know, we had our ups and downs. It was a lot more difficult due to long distance, which, by the way, is real. I had so many comments of people saying, "Oh, you got scammed by a man." No, we were engaged. Like, I'd spent extended periods of time with her and her family. Yeah, she was definitely a woman. I'm just gonna no, but it's just ridiculous comments like that just get to me. The problem with our relationship is that, you know, we clashed, different cultures. You know, we were both very kind of direct people, but in very different ways. I was more negative about my direct honesty and stuff like that, and, you know, she was more positive about it, and that kind of was very hard to work around. The long distance obviously amplified it, and then stuff that was happening in her life, her personal life, was also very difficult at the time, and stuff that was happening in my personal life was also very difficult. And when you're a continent apart, that becomes extremely stressful and anxious for everyone. And I think in that way, our relationship was always toxic. And I don't mean that as in like she was toxic or I was toxic, just the environment and the place we were in at the time was also quite toxic. And I don't think any of us realized till it was like way too late. But like I said, I think we had a really good, decent relationship. You know, I learned more about myself apart from the past 2 years with autism. I learned more about myself with her than I ever have in my life, and it gave me the chance to be a stepdad to her children as well, which was incredible and magnificent. Unfortunately, after we broke up, I was kind of an arsehole to her. I was in a bad place with my mental health, and I just went after her and I attacked her, and I just did despicable, horrible things and said the nastiest things that I could to her for about a year. Something that I majorly regret now that I have hindsight and my diagnosis of autism and how my life and my brain and the way my mind works has changed. I look back on it now in absolutely disgust at myself, and I live with a lot of shame and guilt tied to that. So yeah, I think we had a good, happy, decent relationship. It was just I was a terrible ex, like disgusting. And I've grown so much since then, and I'm pretty sure she has too. I know that she's happy and in a relationship, and that's great. You know, I'm so happy that she's found someone who can make her happy. You know, that's because that's all I ever wanted to do was make her happy. And, you know, great for her. I'm so happy for her, and I hope things continue and work out for her. Let's move on with the video anyway.
It was, you know, I could cope with it. It was fine. I could do it, but I wasn't really enjoying it. When the relationship with Desiree got more serious, I'm actually shaking. You know,
man up. No, I'm just kidding. I remember recording this and actually feeling physically weak and shaking. It was odd because I've never really felt like that before.
The idea of when we were engaged, because we were engaged, I was going to live there, move there, marry her. So to get to that point,
by the way, still want to move to America. You know, maybe in the future.
Get to America, I needed to earn money to be able to, you know, transfer all my stuff and fly over there and fly backwards and forwards, visiting on trips and such things. And
I don't know whether I mentioned it in this video, but I just want to say at one point I was flying backwards and forwards every 6 weeks, sometimes staying for extended periods of time, and the flights backwards and forwards were killing me. Absolutely killing me. There were 16 hours worth of flights minimum, sometimes 24 hours of just straight flights from airport to airport to airport. And at the time I was happy to do it because, you know, it was where I wanted to be, but it killed me. It was so exhausting and so anxiety inducing, which I never realized until I looked back on it in recent years. Absolute killer.
You know, the end goal was to move and live in America. And then when I got to America, my idea was to get a real job and maybe stream on the side or do YouTube.
I'm just so sarcastic. Real job, because people just don't think YouTube and content creating is a real job.
Very scarcely. But YouTube for the past year for me has been using it and enjoying it, but using it mostly to get to my future and the life that I had planned.
I put way too many eggs into one basket.
You know, that relationship ended, and it's been hard for me to deal with. It really has.
And it didn't get any easier for about a year or two, mate.
I don't know how to explain it. Like, I still can't get things right in my head. But when you go from having everything in your world that
I just want to say that phrase, everything in your world, meant something different to me to what it portrayed. Because it was very much an all eggs in one basket type of scenario, but it was kind of a generalized statement, because obviously it wasn't all I ever wanted from my life, but at that time all I ever wanted was to be happy, be in a relationship, have kids. So that aspect for me was everything. But then obviously I've got family here and all of the kind of dreams and things that I wanted to do. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, make that distinction a little bit.
Ever wanted, you know, fiance, moving towards getting married, a family, her kids were going to be my stepkids, a successful job that earns you a lot of money, and at the time good health, to have all of that in your future and then lose it all in the space.
I don't remember the last time I was healthy, so saying that there, having good health, that was 3 years ago, so I'd have probably been talking about 6 months before this video. So for like 3.5 years I haven't really felt healthy until recently, but I also had my seizure recently, so I guess there's that. Strange.
Case of a month or a couple of months, You know, I lost that relationship. I'll never see her or those kids again that I loved with all my heart.
Yep, and that's your fault, you
I started
dickhead.
having epileptic seizures again, which is horrible for me. It's the worst possible scenario that I ever could have imagined. And all.
Oh man, I just heard my voice go. Oh, that really got to me. I just want to say, at this point, when my epilepsy came back, it was also in a very, very bad scope of mental health. So the epilepsy coming back was amplified by everything else that was going on in my head with the negative mental health. Now I know my epilepsy's back. I'm on medication and stuff. It's actually fine. Like, apart from body pain, back pain, stuff like that, which I'm used to anyway because I've had seizures in my life. At this moment in time, I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened, when realistically it wasn't.
But at the same time, then YouTube as well starts to go downhill. As you guys know, whenever you upload a video, you lose subscribers. You know, now there's this adpocalypse thing with Destiny 2 videos being striked and demonetized.
That was a bad time.
I have literally lost everything I've ever cherished in my life in the
Not true. Bit of an exaggeration there.
past 3 months. And I have no motivation to do YouTube anymore.
Oh man.
Oh, I had to cut it there. Yeah, so
I remember when I cut that, and between that frame and this frame, like where I cut it, it was probably about 45 minutes, because I just could not control my emotions. I was just gone. I remember, I think I was screaming into my pillow, which isn't like me at all, apart from when I'm having meltdowns, which I now know is tied to autism. And probably during this video, there was a bit of a meltdown. But yeah, it was about 45 minutes of me trying to get myself together to continue the video.
you know, YouTube came into a part of my life where I didn't know who I was as a person.
Yep.
And now I don't know who I am as a YouTuber.
Very true.
And I can't do this anymore. I just can't.
That moment there, saying I can't do this anymore, is probably the most honest and genuine comment I've ever said in my life. Like, I meant that specific phrase, I can't do this anymore, on an intense level that I can't even explain now looking back on it. Like, I was just done. There was nothing left in me to do this. And best decision I ever made was leaving YouTube, obviously. At the time of recording this video, I didn't know that, obviously. And I was very, very concerned with not making money, not being able to do videos again. And I think several times through recording this video, I almost deleted it and just was going to, I'm carrying on with YouTube. It was a wild video to try and record this.
God, I look like a mess. Jeez.
You still look like a mess now. I look like a mess. You just have more hair.
You know, YouTube changed.
Whoa, I just realised we're doing the same pose.
You know, I thought that
Stop it.
it had led me to the future of my life.
And it did. And it did, weirdly enough. You know, if I hadn't have met my ex-fiance through YouTube, if I hadn't have got to this point where I quit YouTube, I never would have found out I was autistic. Like, at all. It never would have been an option. Everything that happened stage by stage led me to my autism diagnosis. So I actually did find who I was supposed to be at the right time because of quitting YouTube and meeting my ex-fiance, which is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
And obviously life happens and things go wrong and you end up back to square one. But I can't be back to square one with YouTube. It's too much. It's so inconsistent when it comes
really
to
is.
views and subscriptions and growth. It's so inconsistent when it comes to earnings and payments. It's so inconsistent with all the new systems and technologies that they put in place.
Yep.
You cannot just keep a track of it. And
so when I came back to YouTube about a month ago, even the upload system was so different that I really had to sit down and figure it out. And I'm really, really astute when it comes to technology and stuff like that. And I really struggled with finding out how to even upload a video. And that's what I mean by YouTube just constantly was putting in new technologies, new systems, and changing it all the time. And when they changed something on the back end, it usually broke the front end. So like you'd upload a video and it would get half the views that it was supposed to get because they're constantly making changes in the background. And then on top of that, ads were going away because of the apocalypse, which means less money for everyone. And then everyone was getting copyright struck as well by everything. So it just was so inconsistent from month to month. And then you also get like September to December, your money's a lot higher because, you know, running up to Christmas there's more ads. And then January to February to March, you know, down the rest of the year, your money's really low. And at the time when I was trying to fly back as a forwards to America and have a life, it was just so inconsistent that it was killing me. And I didn't realize it was killing me at the time.
I don't have the desire and motivation to do that anymore. And I think a lot of YouTubers now are seeing that happening too. You see a lot of
YouTubers quitting.
A lot of people switching to Twitch. I even had the option of switching to Twitch too, which is something I considered. I mean, I bought a green screen. You know, I put all these things in place.
That terrible green screen.
Ultimately, I just don't want to do this anymore.
The other thing about Twitch as well is that was something I really enjoyed, but I just couldn't be consistently entertaining for like 6 to 8 hours a day. That was so difficult, and it gave me a newfound respect for streamers in general, because you're either really entertaining or really ridiculously skilled. And if you're really ridiculously skilled, then you don't have to be as entertaining. But I was kind of in the middle on both. I'm okay in terms of skill and I'm a little bit better in entertainment, but I just could not make it work. It was so frustrating for me.
I am sick and tired of being in this room.
Oh man, this comment will always make me laugh. I'm sick and tired of being in this room. I think since this video, other than going out and volunteering with my autistic group and helping and supporting adults with autism, I don't think I've left this room once. For about 16 months after this video, I was massively depressed and struggling in a lot of ways, and I didn't leave my room. So I guess this, like, tired of being in this room, 4 walls kind of metaphor was really more about YouTube than actually me going out, even though that's what I wanted to do. You know, life isn't always that easy, and hopefully that changes in the coming future. You know, there's a lot of plans that I have to put in place now that I'm healthy and able to do that. But that comment always makes me laugh.
You know, it's
that comment plays in my head all the time.
People say, oh, you're a YouTuber, you're just playing games, but people don't understand the mental capacity you need to be a content creator. It's hard. Like, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life, and I've been through some hard stuff in my life. True, still true. Even now, right now, when I've come back, the loss of everything in my life, I don't have the mental capacity to do this anymore.
Not everything.
I don't know what I'm going to do from here. I really don't. I have absolutely no savings. All my money went into my long distance relationship. You know, at the same time.
If I remember rightly, and I can't just pull up the numbers from anywhere, but I think going back as a forwards to America, investing in, you know, that future was probably about £40,000, give or take. And, you know, that's not just like flying back as a forwards. There's a lot of other things involved there as well. Like the majority of my money that I earned from YouTube disappeared into that relationship, you know, which is hard to deal with now looking back, but at the time I was more than happy to do it because I was happy and I was in a happy relationship, so it didn't really mean anything to me. But now, actually, funny enough, being diagnosed as autistic, I now know why I was able to just give that money into that relationship, because I have massive impulse spending problems tied to autism, and I think that kind of fit into that same vein.
When YouTube started getting bad, I wasn't earning as much money, so I don't have money, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. I need to find out who I am outside in general, not even just outside of YouTube. I did be in the world and figuring out who I was with YouTube. And you know, when you get such a soul crushing experience happen, you just can't you can't move back to it. You just can't. I've tried so hard. I've made
So I think what I was trying to explain with this kind of phrase, and I still do somewhat have it when I upload videos, because YouTube was the catalyst to my relationship. When the relationship ended, I kind of had PTSD and anxiety tied to YouTube because of that relationship. And it was so difficult for me to just carry on making videos because all it ever did was remind me of my relationship. And even now, nearly 3 years later, every day when I upload a video, I still get that kind of little oof of anxiety. It goes away pretty quickly now because I'm in a better place. But yeah, it was horrible because I was just constantly anxious and stressed about YouTube.
so many tweets, so many promises about making videos, about streaming. And then when I sit in this chair and I just look at the screen, I just feel
my chair's
sick.
red there.
I feel sad. And I just don't have any motivation or desire to do this anymore.
Yep.
So I'm not going to.
Any truers in the chat?
I want to have a family, a life, you know, friends, social life, have a decent job where I'm earning good money, and that's just not going to come with YouTube. It's just not.
True. Definitely not going to come with YouTube, especially with how it was at that time. I think if I'd pushed through, it probably would have changed a little bit, and I would have probably been in a place where I could have made social life and stuff happen from YouTube. But, you know, like I said, the best decision I ever made was leaving YouTube. Now, all those things in that video, I still want a family. I still want kids. You know, I want a daughter. That's all I want in my life, is just a daughter or a dog, one or the other. But no, you know, obviously I love the idea of having a family. And obviously I want to get my own house and stuff like that. But YouTube would never be able to pay for that because of how inconsistent it is. So my plans now were going to happen this September, but because of COVID, it's probably going to be next September. I'm going back to university. I'm going to do a degree in counseling and therapy, and potentially psychology as like a master's, and figure it out from there. Because I think with all the things I've been through and all the experiences I have had, with all the support and help that I've had and know how useful that is, I think I'm in a really good place to be able to articulate and help and support people in the best way possible. It's kind of what I'm doing already with my volunteer work, but I want to take that to the next level and make it into a career. So, you know, hope that works out. We'll give it a shot.
I cannot rely on this anymore. You guys who view my videos have changed my life. You really have.
Yep, true.
And I'll always remember you for that. Like
Always.
I always will. But
there's not a day gone by since I left YouTube when I haven't read these comments on this video. So, you know, that shows how much people supporting me meant and still does mean to me now.
You know, I've had so many great opportunities, from going out to Bungie. Massive shout outs to Bungie for all they've done for me. Activision.
I don't want to keep pausing it, but, you know, I felt like this video needed to mention Bungie and Activision, even though I had a very rocky relationship with Bungie specifically and certain members of, you know, the community team there at Bungie. And it all stemmed from basically me being negative about the game, criticizing the game. And maybe at the time I was being more critical for the idea of getting views and things like that. But I don't think anything I ever said wasn't true about the game, about original Destiny and the start of Destiny 2 when I was playing the beta. And I think a lot of the things that I've mentioned throughout my history of making critical Destiny videos has eventually been discovered and fixed. And I don't think there's a single thing that I have, you know, made a complaint about in any way, shape or form, whether it's on a video or privately, that hasn't been fixed. So in my mind, I still look back at those videos and be like, yeah, I was right about that. But it led to a rocky relationship because I was constantly putting a spotlight on the bad stuff. And I don't regret it, but I kind of do at the same time, business wise anyway. And it led to a lot of tumultuous problems with people at Destiny and Bungie and stuff, and that's why eventually they just kind of blackballed me and stopped me from being able to go to events and all that, which, you know, is their prerogative as a business.
You know, my Activision representatives, Henry Clay and Dom Carey.
Henry and Dom, I miss you guys if you ever watch this video.
You've always treated me with respect, and I respect that.
Yep. Love them two guys. They were so much fun to be around.
I wouldn't be anywhere without Yaush and Chaos Silencer and
Wow,
Big
that's
Snacks.
going way back.
Um,
So Yaush was like the very first network that I joined, and basically they were a subsidiary of another group who were splitting the money with YouTube. So like I would have a very small part of that pie, but they allowed me, you know, opportunities to grow and expand my content to other people. And without them, this never would have happened or started. And then when they got to a certain level and felt like they couldn't grow anymore, they pushed me towards Full Screen, which was a much more established company, which helped me monetize and earn money. So Yaush, Big Snacks, KSX Silencer were massive for my life.
you guys started my career by partnering me, and then I moved to Full Screen. So massive shout out to Full Screen too. Without these people, I wouldn't be able to have made this into a job and earn money from it.
Yep, true.
You know, I've made and lost a lot of friends along the way in the past 5 years. I'm not going to mention absolutely everybody because I'd be here all day. But I want to give the biggest shout out in the world to Miss 5000 Watts. She has been like a rock for me. She has been the...
And I really ruined that in the past couple of years when I was going through my negative mental health stages and stuff like that. I kind of really forced that negative energy onto her. And I also said and done a lot of, well, not done, but I said a lot of things to her that weren't very nice, and just kind of put her under a lot of stress and pressure, having to deal with my problems. And we talk occasionally, maybe a tweet back and forth, but I really miss that friendship and I really miss that relationship. And I mean, I only have myself to blame at the end of the day.
the best friend that anyone could ask for ever.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone who's ever sponsored my channel in terms of like Control Freak,
All about the
and
money.
stuff like that. You guys, you know, you made me feel like I was somebody worth investing in.
Yep. That's
And
very
that's
important.
a hard thing to find in this world.
Yep. It is. It really
Now,
is.
of all the content creators that are involved in this Destiny community, and there are a lot of great content creators,
Still is.
Twitch
a
or
lot.
YouTube, I have to mention Erex. Erex is the most down-to-earth, nice, friendly,
True.
genuine guy you'll
Definitely.
ever meet in your life.
100%. Still to this day.
Redesigned my entire logo, my channel, everything for free.
Yeah. So the logo you see at the start of this video on my channel now, and at the start of this video, and in the bottom left-hand corner of both these videos, Rex just did that off his own back. I was asking him about, you know, logo production and where could I go and stuff, and he just said, I'll do it. And at this time, his channel was blowing the hell up, but he still just took time out to do my stuff. And like, that's the kind of guy he is, and he did it for free as well. And I think I mentioned it now in a minute, but I went into his Twitch stream and still gave him some money for it.
While his channel was blowing up and he was super busy. But that's the kind of person that, you know, just
And he's
makes me
still that
happy
way
in life.
today.
So massive
Even though I haven't
shout
spoken
out
to him in a long
Alex,
while, he's
for
still
everything
that
you've
way.
done. If you don't know who Alex Rex is, make sure you go over and subscribe to his channel. I'll link it down below in the video
Do it.
description. As
I'll try and
with
link
all
it in
the
this
other
video
people
as
that I
well.
mentioned in this video. Well, actually, that's probably the only two people that I'm going to straight up mention, because they both have done quite a lot for me in my time. Will I be playing Destiny 2? Of course. I'm 100% going to be playing Destiny 2.
I did.
You know,
And
with
after
my
about a
clan and
year,
stuff,
I
but
quit
I want
it.
to enjoy the game. I don't want to spend every half an hour thinking about, can I make a video on this? Can I make a video on this? Can I
Didn't
make a
enjoy
video on
it
this?
because
So
launch Destiny 2 was terrible.
the only content you'll probably see from me is stuff that I record and send to DPJ so that he can make content.
Yep.
Like, so make sure you subscribe to DPJ and his channel, because he is going to hit 1 million subs probably with Destiny 2, and
he
deserves
did.
it. You know, like, I'm not just saying that because he's my friend, my real life friend. He works hard, and he deserves your support. So make sure
This
you
is
go
probably
check
the
him
most
out too.
complimentary I've been of DPJ my entire
Will I
life.
be on social media? Probably not. I'm gonna shut down my Instagram, my Facebook.
I just want to say here, talking about social media, after a while after this, I kind of deleted all of my Twitters and Instagrams and all that. But unfortunately, the trolls that were messing with me at the time took the names of all of my Twitters and all that, and they were tweeting out just terrible things, racist things, just being just awful people under my name. And obviously they also got banned and everything, and people thought it was me at the time. Definitely wasn't me. I wasn't on social media for a very long time after I left YouTube.
My YouTube channel will stay open, just, you know, for anyone who plays Destiny 1 again or whatever, or new people to Destiny 1 have content there that they might find helpful. And
also for the money.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still going to be earning money off videos, so why would I not keep it open? I may close it in like a year or something, who knows?
And I did. After about a year, I closed the channel down completely. It disappeared off YouTube. Because I didn't want to be drawn back into it knowing that it was there, and if I ever did get back to that point, I could just reopen it again. But at the time when I closed it, I thought I lost everything. I thought I lost all my videos and everything, and it took me a while to figure out how to get everything back. So yeah, you know, I think everything I said in this video I've achieved.
I don't have any intentions of
apart from the family and the girlfriend and stuff.
I might do. You never know what happens in the future. If I get back on track and stable,
Hi,
you might see me pop up again. But
back on track and stable.
Right now, I'm just done. Twitter, I haven't decided what to do yet, because I love seeing people talk on Twitter, and I have a lot of connections through direct messages on Twitter where I talk to people. So at the moment, I don't know what I'm doing with that, but I probably won't tweet publicly, at least for right now.
As far as I remember, I don't think I did.
You know, there's people I need to keep in contact with, at least for a short amount of time.
Yep.
So Twitter will stay open, but I won't be tweeting on it, and I probably won't respond to people unless they DM me and they already follow me and stuff like that. That's just to stop me from being tempted to come back. That's all it is. Because
kind of weird how I remember this whole video and I haven't watched it since I've uploaded it.
I hope you guys understand. I know it's not easy to understand where a guy just playing video games is quitting because his life's hard. Like it's not just that. There's so much behind what we do as content creators, and how much mental and just physical energy it takes to do what we do. And because of all the loss and everything I've had in the past couple of months, I just don't have it in me to do this anymore. So
all right, you said that like 6 times now.
Thank you for supporting me over the years. I love you guys.
This part was extremely difficult for me to do, because this is the final, like the line underneath the career. Like, this is the end of it. And as I was about to say it, my voice just went, and I had to refocus myself quickly because I didn't want to go and cry for another 40 minutes. And somehow I got it out. So it was very emotional, very dramatic, but I did get it out.
I've been easynow, and you guys have been awesome.
That at the end, I guess it's kind of okay to explain now. I went like this to the camera. Now, way back when I was with my ex-fiance, when we first started, was in a relationship, we would say high five to each other to express how we liked each other, express our feelings. And it was something that kind of carried through our whole relationship. And I just kind of threw that in the end, just in case you ever watched the video, to know that, you know, somewhere inside me, I do still care and I do still love. So that meant quite a lot to me to throw that out. So yeah, that was kind of weird to go back to and watch over again, but I'm glad that I did, because personally for myself, I see now the immense amount of progress I have made from that point. You know, back then I was not even half a person, but I believed that I was a whole person, and my life back then was already confusing, already anxiety inducing, always stress inducing, and I was always lonely and sad and depressed, even when I was in that relationship. And the relationship was great for me, it was good for me, we were happy, but there was always that underlying negative mental health and tone that I really wasn't aware of. And now it's so strange, because I barely have anything right now, but I'm so happy, and I'm happy without burden. And I think that's something I've always wanted in my life, because I feel like I've felt happiness before, but there was just always something attached to it that kept me from being happy. And now I'm just ridiculously happy, like maybe euphoric, and maybe that's bad for me, maybe I need to come back down to reality, but I'm kind of really enjoying feeling happy, which is crazy to me. Like, it's just, It's not something that I can really explain. And you know, my diagnosis of autism is the reason why that has happened, because it is basically just the key to the door. It was the answer to the questions that I didn't even know I was asking my entire life. And you know, without YouTube, without my ex-fiance specifically, and I don't know whether I've told this on my channel, but I'll tell it. I was in the car with my ex-fiance. I think we were going to Target in America, or Walmart, but I believe it was Target. And she said something that was a joke, a very sarcastic joke. Sorry, I got a bit of an itchy nose. Now, I took offense to it and reacted to it because of my autism. I have black and white thinking. So I took what she was saying literally and got mad and angry about it. And she said something to me which stuck with me. I keep making the camera blur. She said, "Can you not read the look on my face?" Meaning, can you not realize that I'm joking because of my facial expressions? Now, at the time, I was already reactionary. I was already angry. So I just was like, no, I'm going to have this argument with you. And I remember having like a massive argument with her. And I got out the car and walked off. And she didn't chase me or anything. And we just were away from each other for like 15 minutes. She was in the car getting angry. I was angry out by Target somewhere. And, you know, we made up. We got back, you know, things got better. And we went home and all that stuff. But fast forward, you know, beyond that relationship, when I think it was it would have been like 15-16 months after we broke up, when I was suffering with that depression and staying at home, and I was watching an interview with a woman here in the UK. Her name's Anne Hegarty. She's like a quizzer on a quiz show, and she's supremely intelligent, and she was on this talking about Asperger's. She was getting interviewed talking about Asperger's, and one of the things that she said is that she couldn't read other people's facial expressions. And when I heard that, it just took me straight back to that argument with my ex-fiance, and it just clicked like nothing. I had this whole wave of like just feeling and emotion hit me and just like submerged my body, and I was like, oh my god, this is me. This is my life. So if I didn't have that trigger point of my ex-fiance saying that and being attached to this lady talking about Asperger's, I never would have been diagnosed, because at that moment I was like, yep, this is me, I'm autistic. And then I proceeded on my own to get the diagnosis. I went to the doctors, they sent me to a psychologist. I went and had interviews, like 2 separate interviews, where they asked me ridiculous questions. And they ask you, it's like a specific test for autism where they ask you like 50 questions, and I think half the questions are the same but asked in a different way. So they kind of ask you the same question twice in very different ways to see if you're lying or anything like that, just to see how you react to them. And the psychologist called me back in after those 2 sessions, and she diagnosed me as autistic. And what is that light? I don't understand what that light is. If it's flickering, I apologize. She said to me, I just thought, oh, so I'm autistic. I was like, what, just very mildly? And she's like, no, you're reasonably on the scale. And I was like, that is driving me crazy. That like, I'm gonna get through this, so I don't have to bother with that anymore. And yeah, she said, you're reasonably on the scale. And then from there, my life changed. It was incredible. So yeah, it's been a bit of a wild journey over the past couple of years from that video till now. One that I would happily take again, because it's led me to a point where everything's changed for me. I've grown up a lot, especially emotionally, because now I have a certain control over those emotions due to awareness. And I've just changed completely. Like, I'm just not intense anymore. I'm not stressed out. I'm free in a lot of ways, which is rare for me. Probably never really had it truly before. And I'm just in a great place. And uploading videos again, being creative, having something to focus on is just exactly what I needed right now. So again, YouTube has come back into my life at the perfect time when I needed it, but for something a hell of a lot more positive than when it was in the first time around. And I might not be earning money yet. I am aiming to get monetization again, but I just feel like I don't really need it. It'd be nice, don't get me wrong, and I'd never really get the kind of views and subs and growth and money that I did before, but You know, it's just these small goals that I'm focusing on and setting that I'm attaining quicker than I thought I would, to be honest. And it's just great. Like I just feel incredible, and I want to thank you if you're still here, for all your continued support, all the comments, the likes, the whatevers you do to support me. It's amazing, and I love you so much for it. So yeah, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Do it now. Click the link, go to Twitter, and follow me, and you can just chat with me there about anything. So yeah, this has been kind of a fun video to make, actually, and it definitely just shows how much I've come, how far I've come in my life, and that's amazing. So thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.